on the low, but also on the high. We don't like unpredictability. We like being able to predict things, especially behaviors in people. And that's why a lot of times when people like change, when it quote unquote change outside of their pattern, people around them don't react in a positive way, because like, yo, you're behaving outside of the designated parameters out of the box that I put you in, and now I'm uncomfortable again. So I'm trying to put you back in that box so I can get back comfortable with you. And a lot of times that doesn't click well with different people. Like that's how sometimes relationships kind of may fall apart.
Yeah.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Buffet Podcast, brought to you by Brandon. And of course,
Deandra.
Hey, we in the building, episode 105. And before we proceed, I need y'all to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate it. Thank you. We're trying to get these numbers up, get the algorithm going. Also, announcement. You know what I'm saying? We finally broke that 100 barrier.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We at 107. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
107. We got a shout out. You know what I'm saying?
In the basement.
Yeah, in the basement. We went on to I guess it was like a stream, you know, where they interviewed us about our love story through music. You know what I'm saying? We had to, you know, give them a list of music, of songs, and then the songs had to represent like different stages of our relationship. Like before, when we were single, when we first met, when we was in like the courting stage, the hard times, the good times. It was actually very, very interesting. Yeah, sometimes we might have to repost that on like our Twitter page or something like that, and because if I put it on the YouTube, they're gonna flag it. You know what I'm saying? They don't flag, because there's a lot. It's music. Yeah. So I'll probably put the link up and like let y'all know through like the IG story. So make sure y'all subscribe to the IG as well if y'all have an IG, and what else we on?
Twitter.
Well, we're on Twitter, and we're also on
TikTok.
Yes, holler at us on that if you haven't already. Follow the movement. Follow us.
The movement.
I'm trying to get it stopped. You're trying to get some movement, trying to get some motion. Join the community.
There we go. That feels a little. Movement feels
political.
Movement feels political, and I ain't got no political ties. And also, I'm not. The move I want you to make is towards your lover. Okay,
Ooh.
Towards the love that you want in your life. That's the move I want you to make. I'm already here. Sorry.
She's correct. So yeah, I agree with you. Join the community
of lovers,
the buffet community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying for the buffet lovers.
Nom nom. Yum yum.
Nom nom. Yeah. So shout out to the basement. We appreciate them from having us on. We definitely so we probably gonna return the favor. Look out for that sometime in the future. We're probably gonna, when we start bringing on guests. We got a couple people lined up. All right. So that being said, we took a little break off because last week was, if y'all may not know, but here in Houston,
Beyonce.
It was Beyonce's weekend.
Say my name. Say my.
Yeah. It was Beyonce. That's what shot. But yeah, it was Beyonce's weekend.
If you've seen that clip, it's like, say Beyonce. They do say my name a couple of times, but then she's like, say Beyonce.
Oh, I didn't go, but she did.
Is giving main star energy.
I guess.
Main character energy.
All that.
It was good. Everybody said it was the best show. Her Houston shows were the best shows, and I'll agree. I only went to the Houston show, but I'll still agree.
Yeah, it's hometown. I
think it was the best.
It's the hometown.
Mm-hmm, that hometown hero feeling, like, oh, my people, I take y'all everywhere I go. I just want y'all to know how much I love you. It was a mutual love fest. Maybe in other places it was only one way. Like, y'all love me, but y'all just all right.
I hear that.
And she was like, no, I love y'all back.
Okay. Mm-hmm. H-Town, the city that birthed her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that being said, last week was Beyonce's weekend, so saying that it was above me. But we are back. Saying we should be able to give y'all some consistent week to week, back to back content.
Only thing you should be looking out for is Brandon's birthday is coming in October.
Yeah,
October.
It's in October. It's in 23rd. Y'all can know that. In case y'all want to send me some money, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
What's the secret, babe?
Not Snapchat me. Why did I say Snapchat? I'm not even on that. Cash at me. You know what I'm saying? If y'all want me to have a stupendous birthday, I would appreciate that.
Now you giving Beggy Bundy.
I'm not Beggy Bundy. I'm like, if they just shit happen to, stumble and fall over a couple dollars.
Because you didn't even want them to know your birthday. So how they gonna find your cash app?
In the description below, I'm sure. It's in the description below.
Boy. Anyway, I mentioned that to say that may be another 1 week that you might not get. But that's 3 weeks away. So
okay, you
got at least 3 weeks of consistency, barring no unforeseen circumstances.
Agreed.
No promises have been made.
Yeah.
Please read on for special terms and conditions.
All right. So this segment, I'm thinking our moves today can be like our discussion about what we're watching, what we getting into today.
Okay.
Before we get into like the clip and then, breaking that down.
Okay.
Sound good?
I like it.
All right. So first and foremost, new season of Love is Blind, season 5 dropped. I don't know if y'all follow it. I originally was not a fan, and I'm begrudgingly watching it, but I'm interested. I watched the last seasons, and I was interested in it. I got invested. I was watching it.
Yes,
because we only got the one major TV, and she was watching it, and I can't. You know what I mean? I can't be there, and then I don't want to get into it. Anyway, the new season dropped. You're
giving excuses, but go ahead.
The new season dropped. We only saw the first episode, but it was a doozy of an episode.
It was. Okay,
talk to him.
In the first episode, you see the 15 singles come together. First, additional context. The singles are from Houston. So there's already a little bit more investment for us because it's like, oh my gosh, this could be my neighbor / they're going to, when these people do.
You might see them out.
Yeah, get married. Like there's potential for us to see them out. Never mind how big Houston is.
Big as hell,
really could never see these people. But it's still, that initial element was interesting and led to some additional investment. But in the first episode, you see all 15 of the singles go on dates with each other,
and they can't see each other. Love is blind.
Oh yes, they can't see each other. And so what happens in the first episode, and this has kind of been typical across the at least the last 2 seasons that we watch, is that you see people start to form bonds really intensely very quickly. Mm-hmm. And because they're all dating the same people, there is some overlap in who is attracted to who. Mm-hmm. So if, for instance, I'm dating all 15 of these people and I like Brandon, when I go back to the living quarters with the other women, there's potential for some other woman to like Brandon and be like, oh my gosh, Ben is so great. Mm-hmm. I really love my conversation with him. Rada, rada, rada. He's so fantastic. And so you see in some ways you see some tension, right? Mm-hmm. Like you see some tension between people as a person that they're interested in is being talked about highly from someone else, and you're evaluating your connection with that person as compared to what that other person has shared, which is interesting. And like you said, breeds this competition.
Mm-hmm. But they click up and stuff too.
Yes. But the thing is, you can't compete in the way that I think that women usually compete, which just reminded me, like, I can't be prettier than you, right? Or like look better than you. I can't use that as okay, that's it. It really is about a genuine connection with this person. Like, who do I like talking to more? Mm-hmm. And what is the depth of our conversations? What is the range of topics in our conversations? What is the ease in our conversations? Mm-hmm. Things like that are going to influence who you're interested in, as opposed to just like, how do they look?
Yeah.
Because once you get to the point, and I'm jumping ahead, but once you get to the point where all the couples who are engaged have an opportunity to see each other, you can see who you have been talking to, because essentially, yeah, that's your fiance, but I went out on a couple of dates with her too. Like, and you're like, oh, maybe I think you're hot. Maybe I don't maybe I don't think you're hot, but now I can see you and put a face to this, and maybe you are who I would have been more naturally attracted to.
Yeah,
I said a lot. What you got to say?
You did. Yeah. So like one of the, there was a lot going on. You can see the politicking going on a woman's side. People like clicking up. They're kind of leaning on each other to be in each other's support. So and because of the dynamic you were saying, like multiple women can like the same guy. There's one guy who's like it seems like several women like the bald headed dude. You know, the it's a young bald headed man. And
young baldy.
Yeah, and you know, they wanted talking about it, and they wanted. Everyone's asking each other, who's on the top of your list? And one of them goes, I'm not telling none of these women who is, because I know what time it is. You know, then on the other hand, you know, they got the guys in there, you know, all different type, you know, walks of life. And I guess we want to concentrate on a couple of the interactions that we saw. Yeah. It got spicy already on the first one. I say it was one couple. I think it was a nurse, ICU nurse, and I guess the dude was like a lawyer, maybe, kind of, sort of, but he owns a business. I don't know.
He's a lawyer, but owns a software engineering business or something, if I remember correct. If you watch the show, the man's name is Uche. The woman's name is Aaliyah. Good. I knew you didn't know. As soon as you started to explain their careers, I was like, I don't
know their names.
That's not a major detail.
I'm not in there yet. It's only the first episode. So, yeah, my man Uche, man, he spit hot fire when it comes to, like, he is a lawyer. I guess if you say you're a lawyer, he is a lawyer. He coming at you, he cross-examining you. Everything you say, I'm going deep. I'm asking, boom, 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 boom. Oh, that's the between him and the nurse, and then the nurse came out and was like, also spoiler alerts. You know, feel free to fast forward. I don't know. 10 minutes or something. And she like explained that like she cheated in the previous relationship. My mom was like, oh, word? Like when? And she was like, it was like 2 years ago. It's like, oh, so you're a recent cheater. That's what he said. He's like, oh, you're a recent cheater.
2 years is a long time ago.
And he was like, no,
I'm not the same person.
That's literally what she said. He's like, no, it's really not that long ago. 2 years ago, it's really not that long ago. He's like, why'd you do it? Like, and she's trying to explain. He's like, yo, I tried everything. I tried to talk to him. I tried to bring it up. I tried to tell him I'm not being satisfied sexually, and tried all different types of things, and it just wasn't happening. So you just, like, in a moment of weakness, it happened. He's like, but why didn't you just break up with her? And then she was like, well, I was afraid. I was being alone, and da 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 da. He was like, nah, man, that changes thing. He went into his notebook, started writing stuff down, and da da da. And then she trying to like say her case, and he's just like, yo, that's like that is a indictment on you. On your morals. And I don't know if I like that. And then she was like, yo, I know I did wrong. I regret it. And he was like, did you break up? Did you stay with him like after it happened? He's like, yeah. He's like, for how long? He's like, another 3 months. He's like, oh, why you ain't just... She was like, well, I know now I won't do it. And she was like, stating the case, you could tell she was remorseful. My man's in the moment was like, nah, I'm not. It just seemed like he wasn't feeling it. She broke down, of course, you know, started crying, left the room. And then after she had left, he was like, because he didn't know she left, because she's ninja stealth out. I don't even think he knew that she was crying, really. And he was like, well, at the same time, you ain't have to tell me this information, so I do appreciate you being honest and da 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 da. But at that point, she was already gone. He didn't hear that. She didn't hear him. It was tense. And then, of course, my boy Rob, you know what I'm saying? Shout out Rob. He hit me up and he was like, yo, this scene right here, is this even a thing? Is this does he have a point? Is he wrong for that reaction? Because it seemed like he was going over grilling and judging her perhaps too harsh, or at least that's what it seemed like. So he's like, is that a thing? Is that what's going on out here? Is that the common sentiment, out here in the streets? I was like, first of all, I don't know out here in the streets, but I'm like, to me, I don't think necessarily he did anything wrong in the sense of like asking and getting more information, more context, because it's like this is somebody he's going to be marrying potentially, so he wants to know like what was going on here. But at the same time, I was like, I'm pretty sure there was some a easier way you could have gone about it. But at the same time, it was like he didn't do anything wrong. The only thing we can really get at him for was like, I guess, the tone or the directness in which he questioned her. It seemed like it lacked, I guess, empathy. But it's like, does he owe her that? I guess. So I'm asking, what are you asking? I don't know. I'm like, I can see both sides. It's like, yo, he really went in. But on the other side, I was like, what could he have done differently? Like, cause like that is a situation where like we got to get. I need to know more. Like you got to tell me the circuit. Like tell me what happened. Why'd you do it? What did you learn from it? X, Y, like what? Why didn't you take all of these chances to leave? Because especially these days we hear, when the shoe's on the other foot, you hear rah, like, well, you should have just left. If you should just leave before you do it. And then guys be like, well, blah 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 blah. We not trying to hit none of that shit. So I was like, when the shoe's on the other foot, I was like, I understand why she did it. I get, her thought processes and going get it. But if we want to keep it the same across the board, there is no excuse, technically.
I don't think she was making excuses for herself.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first thing that I think is where he went, not even where he went wrong, but where he was not well received by the masses is, does this need to be said? Does this need to be said by me? Does this need to be said by me right now? And because they were separated by a wall and he could not see her physically reacting
That's a good point.
to him asking her these questions, like shrinking, getting smaller, like just all of what she was feeling about what would potentially happen in their relationship as a result of this line of questioning. He didn't, that was the thing that was wrong, right? Like, because he couldn't see that. He couldn't gauge how what he was asking her was making her uncomfortable. Now, she stayed throughout the whole conversation, which is also a credit to her character.
Agreed.
She didn't shirk away from the conversation. She did not run away.
He asked a question, she answered immediately.
Exactly. She did not make excuses for herself. She shared what she believed is true in terms of it happened. This is why it happened. That's not who I am now. I don't plan to make that same mistake again. If we want to believe that people can learn from their mistakes and grow, then he should be in a place where he should be able to hopefully move past this.
Forgiveness. Well, I mean, he don't have anything to forgive, but
no, like just understanding, just grace. Like, okay, you did this, but this doesn't define who you are. And that to me is more telling about who you are in a relationship. As much as you're learning something about me in learning about a mistake that I made and maybe feeling something about how a mistake that I made in my past, how you're responding to me doing something in the past, a mistake, however you feel about it, says more to me about how you'll be in our long-term relationship than it does about me making the mistake. Because if you aren't willing to forgive something that didn't even happen to you, how you gonna act when I do something to you? Unintentionally, right? Like, even if I had good reason, I wasn't trying to hurt you, but it hurt you and you aren't able to move past it, that's a red flag for me. Like, we're going to have arguments. We're going to have disagreements. There's going to be stuff that I do that you don't like. Are you willing to extend grace to me? Can you be understanding and empathetic? And if you can't, we're gonna have a hard time in our relationship anyway. So,
and I think he mentioned that too. He mentioned that, I do. This is something that he struggles with, like letting shit go and like not a lot, and like letting, I guess, issues kind of not move past them. It seems like he kind of tried to hold grudges and hold them dearly and hold them tightly. But you raised that's a very good point. You learned a lot about both of them in that. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how that relationship progresses and what's going to happen between those two. And I do think that because communication is like 80-90% nonverbal and seeing the body language, I do think that if you would have saw how she was reacting to that line of questioning, I would think that he would have saw that and maybe adjusted, what he was doing. I don't know, but I would hope so. God wouldn't give him benefit of that on that one.
And I mean, I think he also felt from his perspective that her behaviors were driven out of a desire to protect herself. Which is human. We all want to protect ourselves. We all want to avoid suffering. We all want to be happy. And so she was in a space, it sounded like, where she had been unhappy, but she also felt like tied to this person, also felt like it was a complex situation is what I'm trying to get to. And in response to that complex situation, she was like, well, if I can experience this moment of happiness,
I get my little piece.
Can't I at least have that? You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Yeah. I think that a part of what his drilling down did was like, you did this because you're guilty. You did this because as a person, you wanted to protect and spare yourself. But who doesn't? Is what I guess what I'm getting at is like, you're accusing her of something that is a part of human nature as opposed to addressing how she has learned and grown from that mistake. And that's a part of your perspective. She can't change that.
Yeah.
Which again is like more telling about you. Like if you if you, in hearing that somebody did something wrong, respond to it by judging their moral character, drilling down on what your beliefs are about their moral character as a result of a behavior or an action that they took in the past, that's more reflective of you and your perspective on that and less reflective of that person. Because if you also self-admittedly have cheated.
Yeah, but his was when he was 18. And he just kissed her. And so it was not even close to the same thing. I'm not making that up.
That's exactly what he said. Again, you're existing in a space of judgment. Mm-hmm. Like
I got big judgment from my man.
Big judgment.
And also understandable as well that he has it. That we're not here trying to excuse. We're not here being like, hey, because of how he reacted, it kind of absolves her for what she did. Like what she did was wrong, but the thing, she knows she was wrong. She admitted that she was wrong. She acknowledged it. She knows she was fucked up and she shouldn't have did it and she would never do it again and all those things. And she seemed, it appeared that she was actually very remorseful for doing it. She was not trying to do that again. Just my man's was just, he ain't have any give in him in that aspect.
One last thing that I'll say about this. It relates to your belief, your worldview. Mm-hmm. If you heard once a cheater, always a cheater, or if you're a woman, if you heard all men cheat, when something like that happens, it's an affirmation for you. Mm-hmm. Or if I believe once a cheater, always a cheater, if you told me that you cheated before, now I don't want to be with you because now I know it's going to happen. Yes, that is going to happen to me. And I can't be surprised when it happens to me. Or I'm going to live with the feeling that it is going to happen to me. That all has to do with you and your beliefs. And so, you have to address what it is that you believe and evaluate whether that is 100% true all the time.
Yep. And regardless of that, that's a choice you have to make. And if you are once a cheater, always a cheater, then this is not the relationship for you.
Walk away.
And so walk away and don't look back. Don't walk away. Don't look back. And so maybe possibly and then if it happens to you and then you want to be like, see, this is why I shouldn't have gave it. No, you knew what it was when you signed, dude. So if this is not for you, this is not fall within your ballywick. This is not something that you want to have in your life. Don't have it in your life. Mm-hmm. Don't make excuses for yourself in order to finesse yourself into a situation that you really don't want to be in. Mm-hmm. And so you gotta take what comes with it, good and bad. Know that you may pass up on some potential good relationships over people who made mistakes in the past and probably will never repeat them again. But also, so you got to take that. You got to take that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then the second one was the
breakup.
The breakup. And was it also with Izzy?
Yes, that was Izzy.
Same guy. Same guy's another woman who was.
But we were just talking about Uche.
Ooh, my fault. Moving back to the bald head man.
Yes, you trying to throw Uche right on the bus.
Not Uche. My fault. Not him. The other one, Izzy. It's a woman who really it was several women who really like him, but one of them was like, I'm rocking with him heavy, like he's my number one. I'm finna let him know, and I already knew. So just after interaction, like, he like her, but nah, he ain't her top pick, and he had to let her down. He's like, she came out there to let her know how she felt, what she wanted. And she was like, nah, I've made, I feel like I've made stronger connections with somebody else, and I think I want to pursue that. And as soon as he realized that, he came to us like, yo, I like you, we cool, but I made a strong connection with somebody else, so I'm gonna have to let you go and kind of I'm breaking up with you in a sense, and blah blah blah. She broke down, histrionics. Why? And da 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 da. And he was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong with me?" And it's like, bro, it's just I made a strong connection with somebody else. That's all I got for you right now, and that wasn't enough. But
I wonder though if I wonder what would have been a satisfactory answer in that situation.
Yes, The satisfactory answer would have been like, yes, I like you too. You my number one. Let's go together.
No, I mean, in asking the question of why me, it's all because it seemed like, again, talking about that perspective, that belief, it seems like her belief, it's always me who's getting rejected. It's always me that people leave, and they don't give me a reason why. Mm-hmm. And if I could just have a reason why, then I'll know and I'll be able to grow from it. But in the same vein, she has professed that there are things about her personality that have rubbed people the wrong way. Mm-hmm. I'm loud, I'm bold, I'm these things. And like,
I'm the type of person to walk past it, walk by a bar and slap you in your ass and giggle and walk off and things like that.
That's not her. That was the other one.
Damn, my fault. I feel like that was her, but whatever. I'm wrong.
That was a blonde girl who also likes Izzy.
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay. Makes sense.
And yeah, I lost my train of thought with your misinformation. Oh, yes, I'm loud, I'm bold. I have these things about me that other people have not been able to handle. Mm. And I believe, from the outside looking in,
qualifier,
that those are the things.
Yes,
those
she knows.
I think that she knows.
She knows. We all know.
She wants to hear. I think she wants to hear somebody else say it, mm-hmm. and have that be the reason that it didn't work. Yes. Oh, well, he just didn't like me, and I just am who I am, and that's, I'm going to find the right person for me. Valid. Somebody can and is capable of loving you as you are right now. You are enough. That's it. You have to believe that, though. Like, you can't believe that, like, the reason that somebody doesn't love you, or the reason that people aren't willing to love you or be in relationship with you, is because of these things that you feel like are so true and core to your personality.
Yes. But on the other hand, I do think that a good percentage of that personality is a defensive mechanism, in the sense of, like you said, like, this is how I behave. Because she opens with that. Like, she opens like, this is how I am. Da 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 da. You're gonna take it or not? I want somebody. I think that she uses that as like, okay, if you're not gonna like me, you're not gonna like me for something I did, and not for something I don't know. Like, so she grows up not knowing, like, people keep leaving me. Why? What's going on with me? I don't know. It's something intrinsically wrong with me. Then, okay, I'm going to give them a reason not to like me by acting in this way. And hopefully my future man is going to see this person that I am and accept me for who I am. And that's going to tell me that it was nothing wrong with me. It was nothing wrong with me. It was them. But right now she's okay with her person, like how she is, her actions and being loud, and so that that feels better as the reason that why people don't like to be around, be with her in a romantic sense, than not some other thing that she doesn't know, like something intrinsically wrong with her.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Yeah, I learned that from anime. I'm being honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, Naruto. Naruto, the main character. That's what he did. He acted like. It would, like, the village tangent, but the whole premise of Naruto is like he had like a, I guess for lack of a better term, is like a beast sealed inside of him that like fucked up the village and killed a lot of people, and it sealed him as a baby. He doesn't know they sealed him inside a baby because the leader outlawed everyone from mentioning it to the younger generation, but the older generation know, and then they don't like him. They ostracize him, treat him cold. He grew up alone, but he didn't know. He's just like, why people treat me like this? So he's like, fuck it, I'm a prankster now. So he go around just being a whole asshole to everybody, and it was like, yeah, you ain't gonna like me for some shit I did. You ain't finna not like me for some shit I don't fucking know. Like I'm just walking on the street and you fucking, hey, you know me? Fuck that. No, I'm gonna egg your house. That's why you don't like me. So I put that ipso facto.
Okay, go ahead, anime.
Man, people be sleeping on anime.
Yeah. I know now. Now anime that I'm on One Piece, I know that it has themes and a lot to teach you. But
hey, for a lot of people, men specifically, anime was the first time that you were allowed to express the fullness of your emotion. The negative stuff, crying, being sad, helplessness, powerlessness. Experience that through watching anime. And it was okay.
Yeah.
Because they grew up and be gangster. It's like, okay, he's the main character and he crying. I said, it's okay.
It's okay.
Now, tangent over with. All right. So that being said, we're going to go go into the
the main part of the episode.
The main part of the episode. Now, so we give you a little long.
Minutes
because we got like 10-ish minutes of just us like not doing anything before we really started for real. So it's really like 30 minutes. Okay, so we're going to do a clip by...
Hold on, before you say anything. Please watch Love is Blind with us, so that way we can continue to talk about it and you know what's going on.
Watch it.
If you don't watch, then we won't be able to... Well, I'm going to still talk about it if I want to.
Yeah.
But I would like for you to be able to know what's going on. Also, put Golden Bachelor on your radar, because that's the next one we finna watch.
I'm not really looking forward to watching that, but I already know. It's just... So I signed up for it.
Don't you want to know about what is happening with this 70-year-old man in his dating life? Because I do.
I guess. Maybe other people are going to want to know too. But anyway, this clip we're bringing you is from tonight's conversation. And it is about the statement, men can't take what they dish out. So, so I'm about to play it in the moment.
Because... tonight will be the night that I want.
Just want to take one step back to this idea that men can't take what they dish out. That's one of the, it's one of them things that sound good, but once you start to really unpack it, it's low-key dumb. Because a lot of people can punch hard that can't take a punch to the jaw. I don't know why people think the ability to inflict pain is somehow reflective of the ability to take it. Like when we talk about this thing where men suffering in relationship, it's a whole lot of women that take up a lot of emotional space in a relationship, but couldn't take it at all if a man started to assert his space emotionally, which is why we get called sassy now, right? Men are attempting to hold emotional space in relationship, and because we do it, we sassy. But you can punch hard emotionally, but you can't take it. So this whole men can't take what they dish, bro. Who likes to be in pain? Who likes discomfort? It's one of them things that sound good because the women who've been affected can collectively come together and point their finger. There's a way to avoid accountability for a whole group of women to say that men can't take what they dish out. No, baby, you didn't stand on your standards and he got you again. You wouldn't even have to say something like that if you was one of the women punching back. But let me not encourage toxic behavior.
Dang, start punching back. That's what I took from that.
That's what you took back. Yeah. Start punching back. So I thought that was an interesting clip, and not only just of on the gendered, men to women or women to men. I was thinking of just like this. This can go either way for men and women, because there are definitely relationships where men take up a lot of the emotional part of the relationship and can't take it when you get when they're trying to take some emotional space back a little bit. So I thought this was pretty interesting, because I definitely have heard that narrative stated, that's online and stuff like that, about men can't take the criticism that they are dishing out, or men can't take whatever it is, that they're dishing out. They can't take that back because their egos are small, or whatever the reason. And I like its breakdown of that. What do you think?
I was listening to you speak, so it was hard for me to multitask.
That's okay.
Think and listen. But, I think he brings up a really good point, that the ability to be able to inflict pain is not the same as the ability to be able to withstand it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I could be, oftentimes, in fact, the inverse is true. Like, I'm mean as hell, but if you do something to me, I'm crying. Internally, externally, I'm hurt. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because that hurt that I'm inflicting on you is indicative of whatever else I already got going on. So you maybe are experiencing something for a brief moment, right? You're experiencing a portion of whatever it is that I'm already carrying. And so when you throw that portion back on me, it feels even heavier. Like, I try to shake this weight off by hurting you so I could feel better. Now you're trying to hurt me. I already feel bad. Chill out. It's too much. This way too much.
I hear that. And I think, to your point, like the people who are best able to dish out, like, quote unquote, pain, I would say they probably are the ones who are worse at taking it. Because like the best people in order to be good at dishing out pain, that's what you do. Yeah. You are an offensive fighter. You know what I'm saying? You probably you're too busy punching to allow room for anybody else to punch back. So when somebody is actually able to get a lick in, it hurt more because you've never experienced that pain, as opposed to somebody who is used to who is really good at taking pain probably is not that great at hitting back because they don't have any experience at being able to hit back. They just been too busy trying to not die.
Yeah, it's two different skill sets.
Yeah, two different skill sets. Damn.
Yeah. Interesting though. I do wonder if, to his later point, if this statement, this belief is used to make the people who are dishing out pain unaccountable or less accountable for what it is that they're doing. Like, you know, like I think it's almost like an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind. Like, you hurt me, so I'm gonna hurt you back. Okay, now we're both hurt. Like, or you hurt me, and so whatever you do to me, I'm gonna do it 10 times worse. Like, you can't tell me how to react. Okay, but like now,
what are we doing?
Yeah, like,
so now I got to get you back for getting me back, and on we go. And I think the main point is like, why did you allow yourself to be dragged down into that place? I'm saying, like if you're not an asshole, it shouldn't matter, you know, what's going on. Like you're not an asshole. Like, so you're not an asshole under condition. So so that means, are you really not an asshole? Or so if someone does something bad, you know, something bad to me within a relationship, I don't want that in my relationship. So I could do something bad again, but I'm still in the relationship. Yeah. I don't want to be in the relationship that's bad. So I'd rather get out. Yeah. To your point of our last episode, was like, I will revoke access, you know, to you, because I don't want to be, because I don't want to get down the line, you know, years down the line, and I'm a shell of who I used to be, and I'm behaving in a manner that a year ago I don't recognize myself anymore, because I feel like I'm keeping up with the Joneses and trying to get licks in, because, you know, we're being toxic and unhealthy to each other. That's not who I want to be. So I will remove myself from the situation. I understand that some people are like, a lot of people feel like that's being like, you kind of like soft for that, because like, oh, you just gonna let somebody just do that to you? Relationship, you ain't gonna get back daily? Like, no, because I don't do that. I don't want to do that. Like, if I get cheated on, I'm not going to cheat back. I'm out of here. I'm gone. What you mean? I'm not a cheater. So what? Why? So why? Yeah. And my cheating is not like, when I'm talking to my next partner, and the topic of have you cheated again come up, and I'd be like, yeah, I did, but she did it to me first, and like, that doesn't absolve me from what I did. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I do think that they can't take what they dish out part is a way to try to kind of absolve themselves of their ill behavior in response to somebody else, to like their partner doing that to them. Like you said, like either you shouldn't have been in that situation, you should have just get up out as soon as it became apparent that this is what type of time they're on, or you decided not to hit back and you became a victim. So and that whole victim mentality, that sometimes that's a coveted position. You know, that being a victim, it is very coveted. You can make money off of being a victim, and I think that a lot of people enjoy being the victim and would like to place themselves in a position to be victims, because like, I'm gonna go for this thing. I'm in a situation that I know is untenable. It's not something that I like. If I make it work, great. But if I don't, at least I can be like, they did me wrong. I'm a victim now, so I can get something from that. It's kind of wild. It's a weird thought pattern, which I don't really think they think of consciously. I think a lot of it is subconscious, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm giving people too much credit and they really know exactly what they're doing. But at a certain point, you kind of got to know, I would think. You would think. But again, maybe I'm giving people too much credit.
I mean, I think your awareness of being done wrong is separate from your awareness of how you place yourself in the position of being a victim. That's right? True. Like, and I also think a lot of it has to do with what you believe is true about, like, your mindset is just very powerful on your outlook on the world, on your relationships, and like the perspective and lens through which you're seeing things. If you had the experience that the romantic relationships that you witnessed as a kid were ones in which there was a woman who was a victim and a man who was a villain, or the inverse, the woman who was the villain and a man who is a victim, that like internally plays into your mind. And so you're in a position where you're a victim, but you're like, this is how relationships are. Or like, damn, like this is just how it goes. Like I was hoping that this wasn't going to be true, or I was hoping that this wasn't going to happen to me, but this is the truth of like what I've seen of relationships. So I'm here now. You know? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely can like understand that. Like if you go, I guess if you think that this is what a standard relationship is, I would think subconsciously you would seek a relationship in which that will come true. Mm-hmm. So it's like if I think that all women cheat, I maybe subconsciously go towards women who indicate signs that like they are unfaithful to kind of like solidify or reaffirm that belief. So it's like all women cheat, so I already so like that's not that. I don't know. It's weird. It is very weird.
It is things very weird.
How and why we are attracted to things.
Yeah, like a lot of it is, like you said, subconscious. There's a lot of things that you aren't necessarily aware of. And sometimes it works in your favor. Sometimes I think about, like, for example, in our relationship, mm-hmm. there's a friend who said to me, like, oh, Brandon's a lot like your dad. And I was like, yuck, like, gross. My dad and I don't have the best relationship. And there are a lot of things about my dad that I don't like. But then when the boys were here, I was like, oh, Brandon's a lot like Andre and Christian. And I guess Brandon, like Andre and Christian, probably learned how to be a man from watching my dad. So I guess they are similar. I guess there are some similarities between these men in my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm drawn to you. Even having the aversion that I have towards my dad, I'm still drawn to you because it's familiar to me. It feels comfortable to me. And it's not bad. Like I got all the good without all the bad. So it's great. It worked out. But that's not always the case. We aren't always, again, conscious of that. Like we're going towards the thing that feels comfortable, feels familiar. That's what that chemistry feeling is of like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I already know you. Like we just vibe so well, and then you get to a place where it's like, oh, we're actually different. Or like we're different in these particular ways. And it's how do our differences work together without clashing to the point that we can't coexist? But you're drawn to people who make you feel comfortable, make you feel safe, and remind you of what a home like feeling is. And if your home like feeling includes things that are not healthy, you will probably see that in your relationship.
Agreed. The feeling of home is the feeling of familiarity.
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like, whether it was chaotic, whether it was orderly, it is familiar, and we seek it in everything that we do. We get a new job. It feels weird until you get used to it, and then it becomes familiar, and then you feel good in it. You feel good in it. You meet new people. It's always a little awkward because you don't know them, and you're not familiar with them, and then you don't solidify it until like they get familiar, where you feel like you can kind of predict it a little bit. We don't like on the low, but also on the high. We don't like unpredictability. We like being able to predict things, especially behaviors in people, and that's why a lot of times when people like change, when it quote unquote change outside of their pattern, people around them don't react in a positive way, because like, yo, you're behaving outside of the designated parameters out of the box that I put you in, and now I'm uncomfortable again. So I'm trying to put you back in that box so I can get back comfortable with you. And a lot of times that doesn't click well with different people. Like that's why sometimes relationships kind of may fall apart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People might be in the streets one day and that was cool, and then they decide, hey, I don't want this anymore. I'm trying to do something a little different than the people you leave behind. Because you're gonna have to leave them behind. They don't like that. They pulling at you. They're like, yo, I can't predict you anymore.
Yeah, you different.
You different. You changed up. You changed up on me. What's going on? Like, you used to blah blah blah. And then they project on you. They project like you doing something wrong. And it's like, no, I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just like I'm changing. I'm moving a different way. You can choose to learn the new me, or you can go ahead and die with the previous image. By die, I don't mean like literally die. I mean like the relationship died. Yeah. That's it right there.
Bars, babe.
Thank you.
Fit act.
So
fit act.
We we about 45-ish minutes in of real podcasting. You got anything else on this part? I got a comment from one of our clips or one of our YouTube clips.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the last episode, the Forgiving.
Oh, this is the letter. Right?
No.
Oh, that was Satisfied. That was 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. So this was our last episode, the Forgiving is for You episode. Somebody commented on the episode. It said, Michaela, I think her name is. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I'm mistaken, I apologize. Also, let me reiterate, by writing comments, unless you say otherwise, if you write to us, DM us or anything like that, unless you say otherwise, we're assuming you're giving us consent to say your name. All right. So Michaela, she said, I understand forgiveness is for you and that you shouldn't keep bringing up the past. However, if there has been multiple times I've been hurt and the pattern comes up again, is it wrong to be upset about it?
No. Your feelings aren't right or wrong. Your feelings is valid.
Khaled.
Some say Khaled, some say Khalid.
Right.
No, I don't think that there's anything wrong about being upset. It is what you do with that anger that is
an indictment of like who you are. It can be indictment. That sounds so strong, but it's more of a reflection of what's going on with you.
I read something yesterday of like external events are going to happen, right? There are going to be things that are outside of your control. All you can control is the meaning that you derive from those external events and your response to those external events. So yeah, the pattern happens. You get angry because that is a natural response to it. It's upsetting you. Yes. What do you do with that anger? Do you lash out? Do you broach the conversation calmly? Do you revoke access from that person? Do you set a new boundary? Like, what do you do with that anger? Because being angry isn't enough to create change for the external event. Yeah.
Yeah, because if it keeps happening and all you're doing is continuing to be angry, that's not enough of a deterrent for the BS to continue to happen. So it's like, what is it that you're hoping to accomplish by just being angry? Yeah. Also, I want to know is this the same pattern of behavior with different people or with the same person? That's true. Like what are we talking about over several different relationships, or are we talking within the same relationship and the same person is doing the same thing over and over again and is making you angry? How have you communicated? Have you communicated it? What are the consequences of this pattern of repeated behavior? Like, they continue to do something that you don't like, and it's making you angry. Like, what do you want to do with that? Do you want to keep staying in a relationship? Do you want to leave? Do you want a different behavior pattern? What is that behavior that you want? Is that realistic for the person that you're with? Was he or she like this when you met him? Is this like, this is how it always been, and now down the line you decide I don't like this no more, but this is like a part of who they are, or is this something that that popped up recently or what have you? I don't have enough context for this, but like at the heart of it is like, is this over time or across different relationships or relationships? I said relationships twice, or is this within the same relationship? Like, we know you're angry. Do they know you're angry? What you gonna do with it?
Yeah. I like that wrap up. The one thing that I wanted to say in response to that is I think the difference between it happening across multiple relationships versus the similarity between it happening across multiple relationships and one relationship is you. You the common denominator, sweetie. And so as the common denominator, if this pattern of behavior is that troubling for you, is it tied to anything else? Like, is it just that behavior, or does that behavior make you think of X, your parents' relationship? Does that behavior relate to some belief that you have about yourself or some belief that you have about the world? Can I give an example from our life? So Brandon will get up and walk away from me after we're doing something. So for instance, dinner. We're having dinner. I always finish my dinner after Brandon. He eats faster than me. And in the past, I made a request of like, please don't get up and leave when you're done with your food. Like, I don't care if you're just walking around to the sink. I don't like when you get up and walk away without saying anything while we're having a meal together. From my viewpoint, we're spending quality time together. It's rude for you to get up and walk away while I'm still eating. If the tables were turned, I will wait for you. I want you to wait for me to finish enjoying my meal. I want you to spend this time with me. What else is more important than what we got going on right now? So a couple of things that are a part of that, right? The belief that it's rude. So that says something to me about Brandon. And I don't believe that he's a rude person. So I'm like, stop doing it. Like, I know you're not rude. You need to stop. The other thing that is a belief is about the shared quality time of like, I really value quality time. You know, quality time is a love language of mine. Why would you get up? Like, and now I feel like you don't even love me. That's the other thing. And then the not saying anything is a little abandonment stuff. Like, so you're just not going to say something. Like, you're not going to communicate with me. You're just going to get up and walk away from me. You think that's okay? Oh, hell no, it's not okay. But all of that is me. Like, from Brandon's perspective, I'm finished with my food. Yeah. At least my objective idea is like, oh, he's finished with his food. He's just getting up. Like, none of that is happening for you. None of what's happening.
I'm not thinking. I'm not like, forget her. I'm sick of this. I'm gone. I'm out. No, I'm just
quality
like
time over.
The quality time. Nah, let me show her what it really ain't no quality time about this. I'm not thinking about none of it. I'm like, I finished my food. Let me put my plate up. But like, yeah, yeah, that is part of that. But go ahead, continue, babe.
Well, the last thing that I was gonna say about that is, as it relates to like your perspective and perception on it, is the awareness that you have to have that is your own stuff will have an impact on how you react. There was a time where I just used to get pissed. Like, I was upset.
Wouldn't say nothing.
And wouldn't say anything. Now, more recently, because I recognize that it is something that I'm hyper aware of and Brandon is not aware of, like, even though I brought it up to him, I recognize that he forgetful anyway. I recognize that there's no malintent behind it. The way that I approach it and the way that I ask for what it is that I need is different. And when he apologizes or says like, oh, my bad, I didn't mean that, I can forgive him because I know that he doesn't mean it. If you haven't done any of that work to be aware of what's going on from your side and you really just stop at he's rude.
And so he's just a rude person and he don't care about me, and that's where it ends.
Then of course you're going to be angry. Of course you're going to be upset with the other person. Of course it's going to be easy to be like you and never realize what you, the person who is actually feeling the anger, is actually bringing to the situation that is contributing to what's happening.
Yeah, you're attributing a meaning to an action on someone else that is only true for you.
Yeah. And that's the thing that you have control over. I cannot tie Brandon down and make him stay after he finishes eating his food. That's not what I have control over. I have control over my perspective and the meaning that I take from this external event. So after we had the conversation, whenever it was, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess you aren't rude and you aren't trying to end quality time with me and you aren't abandoning me when you get up. You just going to put your plate away. And I was like, okay, well, when it happens again, like, do I still feel upset? Yes, a little bit. But my ability to bring that to him without all that other stuff on top of it is fine. It's just like, okay, I would prefer that you stay with me.
And I know it.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes it's like I feel like I said it in my head. I'm like, okay, I need to go do this real quick. I'm gonna come right back. In my mind, like, I feel like I communicated it, but I only communicated it to myself, and I get up and leave. Sometimes I catch myself like, oh shit, okay, my fault. I walked off. I know I walked off without saying anything. So I definitely try to accommodate in that aspect by letting you know that, yo, I'm about to go do this thing real quick. I'll be right back. Bing bong. That's what that helps. That was like, okay, cool, no problem. Thank you for letting me know. Well, you know, what have you. That way, I don't think, you know, you don't think I'm like abandoning you. Never that. So yeah, I'm just gonna do this real quick. I'll be right back. Got a couple minutes. But usually it's just a real quick thing. I'm about to go to the sink. But when you say it's like, dang, it sounds weird. I'm pretty sure people will be like, well, why you gotta announce where you going like you know like some little child or whatever. But it is like I objectively recognize that, like, when you are in the presence, when you're with somebody and you're like spending time together and you're talking or what have you, it is rude as shit to just kind of just get up and walk. And I already know that's like not something that you're really supposed to do, especially within the Black community. You don't move, you don't leave a place without announcing. That's very that's a faux pas amongst Black. Like, you go to a get together, family get together, and then you just walk, you just leave, go home, you don't say nothing to nobody. You gonna hear about that.
Yeah.
You gonna hear about that. But yeah, so I recognize the part that I play in it, and you know, in the sense of like, it is rude, but it is not like abandonment. You shit rude. It's just like, you should like let me know. Let's tell me like you about to go do something. There's some donuts, don't walk off and like don't say anything. So yeah. We in now. All right, so we was going to give y'all do another piece. Like, we was going to read off of like we found some like Reddit threads, but nah, we think we're going to end it here. We gave y'all enough. I know a lot of y'all attention spans ain't that long. We're going to try to give y'all an hour or less, unless otherwise specified, and we're not specifying today. So we're going to end it right here. But next time we'll try to bring in some Reddit stuff, because Reddit is.
I really
Reddit has a lot of good content. Yeah, so if y'all got anything for us, y'all got any content, any questions that y'all want us to kind of break down or discuss, y'all find some posts, y'all find some videos or anything like that, please, DM it to us, email it to us,
because it goes down in the DMs.
Yeah, do all those things, and again, remember, if you don't want us to say your name and when you're asking us these questions, make sure you say, don't say my name, otherwise I'm gonna say your name. Say Beyonce. Yeah. So that being said, I hope y'all having a great week.
You're not gonna do final food for thought?
Oh shit! Damn. Woo.
2 curse words back to back.
Final food for thought, y'all.
What is your final food for thought, babe? And if you want me to go for a second,
you go ahead, babe.
Okay. My final food for thought is, it all comes back to you. It all comes back to one. A lot of what we experience in relationship, and this can be in any relationship, your relationship with your parents, with your friends, your relationship with yourself, of course, your relationship with your partner, your relationships at work with coworkers, all of that has to do with your perspective taking and your response to this external event, this person, their behavior, their actions. And if you can incorporate an awareness that, one, everybody wants to be happy. So whatever they're doing is usually to serve their own happiness. Mm-hmm. And 2, that everybody wants to be free from suffering and discomfort. So whatever they're doing, if they ain't trying to be happy, they trying to get out of something that's uncomfortable for them. If you can take that perspective along with recognizing that, like, you have a lot of control over things, you'll be in a much better place. And much happier. That's a good one. Yeah, I was going to say, I think it kind of goes off of your point a little bit. It's kind of, related to it. It's just like, not, a lot of times we personalize everything when it comes to things that we claim as ours. Like, and especially within relationships, like, we personalize everything within all our interactions, and every slight we perceive it as if it's an attack on us and our character. So to the point where, like, someone doing something they don't like, it's not that they doing something because it's like F you. It's just, they just doing something that, like, for them it was like something that they wanted or they felt like they needed or what have you. And as a byproduct of that action, you were hurt by it. It wasn't like they was like, oh, I'm gonna do this specifically because F my partner. I mean, although that can be true. I'm saying,
we're not talking to them.
Yes, we're not talking to them.
We're not talking to them.
And even if it was F my partner, it's F my partner because that's going to make me happy. It's going to make me feel better.
Right. And if and if and you know that's a whole nother episode. I feel like right there, but yeah, and a lot of times, many times, most times, our feelings don't determine the reality. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we know when our feelings are hurt or we feel some type of way, that now becomes that's what it was. Like because you did this thing and I feel some type of way because I feel bad about it. What you did was thereby bad. Yeah. And your feelings, even though what you feel is valid or what have you, it's true for you. It's true for you. It's not true. It doesn't change the reality of the situation. It doesn't change what's going on. You don't get to like look at something and be like, because I feel a type of way about this thing, it's now this thing. No, that's not how it works. Feel how you feel, but then take a couple steps back and recognize that like just because I feel this way doesn't mean that's what it really is. Mm-hmm.
Bars.
And that's
FitX.
And that's that on that.
On period, poo.
All right, y'all. That being said, we're going to wrap it up right here. Appreciate y'all tuning in for another episode of the Buffet Podcast, episode 105. Again, like and subscribe. I'm trying to get these numbers up. We got past the 100. The next goal, 200. Let's get it. I need y'all. Let's go. Send this stuff to people. We dropping clips almost on damn near on the daily. Send it to family and friends. I'm trying to get these numbers up on YouTube. Come on, help us out. We appreciate it. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.